you guys want to like go around and give your I guess give your initial thoughts about the movie, like how you felt about it, whatever, and and I guess your stars, like what out of 10, you know?
Yeah, man. You want to start? Who wants to start?
10 yeah. I mean, I can start.
Go for it.
All
I
right,
say
what?
we draw straws.
You want to go start? You want to start, D?
Good.
Okay, yeah, I'll start. All right, cool. So Godzilla X Kong, I thought was a fucking fun movie, man. I think if anything, it was a fun movie. Like it was action all the way through. Like there were no slow parts. Like even at the very intro of the movie, you got a fight with Scylla and Godzilla. Um, where that motherfucking monster popped. Like that was cool. Then he jumped to the fight with Tiamat, and then you got into the fight with Godzilla fighting Tiamat. Then you got him in the Coliseum, just chilling. And then you got Kong, and he's out here. He's setting traps. He's like, running. He's running the gamut on, like, he's ruling down there in the Hollow Earth. Like kaiju fights. This was a fun, action-packed movie. Like, and I think as far as kaiju fights go, man, like maybe have a low bar, because like I guess I have nostalgia. Let me say that. Like I grew up watching, Godzilla fighting in the rubber suits, right? So this for me again, and I feel like you get it every time, but it it's kind of like oh, this is like a dream come true seeing these fights like this. Um, Seeing the energy and the energy blast, and the attacks, and like the way to develop the story, right? Like I think the story was pretty good. Like I felt like there was a couple moments I felt like relieved for Kong, like I feel like Kong got a good hero story, like he came in, he saved his people, he did what he had to do, and he comes back riding the white dragon, it's like I feel like Kong. I honestly, let me say this: I felt a lot more for Kong in this movie than I did in Godzilla versus Kong. Like in Godzilla versus Kong, like I know it kind of felt like it was centered around Kong, right? A lot of it because Godzilla is generally just a force of destruction. There's not a whole lot of story with Godzilla other than I'm about to fight you or it or something. Like if there's something here, I gotta fight it. That's kind of it with Godzilla. But for Kong, like you're right. We followed his story, but even in the last one, I was like, well, okay, man. Like good luck, I guess.
He just seemed like another obstacle. Like it was obstacle versus obstacle, and which one would move first. So
yeah, and this one I felt like Kong had more
it was
stakes.
Definitely way more focused on him. Like, kind of like humanizing him or making him more relatable, like letting us know he's the hero. So I agree with that.
Yeah. So like I guess like to wrap all this up. Wait, also let me say the monster designs were dope. Tiamat looked dope. Even I'm mad they killed it so early, but it looked dope. Fucking fucking god damn it. Scar King. I love this thing. he was ridiculous. Like oh my god, he was cocky as hell. So I enjoyed that. He was a good. I wanted to know more about him. Like to me, I want to know how you got here, son. Like you ain't. Yeah, you see, he ain't like the rest of them. How'd you get here, son? Like I know you read the little red little babies running around.
How are you smart enough to control Shiva?
Yeah. What's up
how
with
did you figure
crystal,
that
son?
out?
Yeah. Like, what's all this about? Like, I wanted to know more about Scar King. But I guess he still is the villain, and the same with Ghidorah, right? You gotta have these great villains. Ghidorah was a fucking amazing villain, man. Like Godzilla King of the Monsters was a beautiful fucking like movie.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, and it's just like, but you gotta fucking work the villains in the end.
You sure do.
You gotta. Can't let that one get away. He can't. He can't be
villain.
doing the. Ghidorah can't be doing dastardly schemes later and shit. Like, nah, that's gonna be a fucking problem. That's gonna be the world. But yeah, like I definitely feel like I like the movie, man. So out of 10 stars, let me think. Like for me to give a 10, it's gotta be a lot. I give it a cool 8.5. 8.5. Let me go to 8.5. I'll say no, 8.5. I'm gonna leave it a cool 8.5. Yep.
Yeah.
And hey, let me just say, of course, the humans were fucking irrelevant. Oh, last part. I did like fucking Bernie. Like for me, Bernie was probably the best. I don't want to say actor, but he was the best like human character for me in the movie.
He was funny in the first one. In the first guy,
he was in the first one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was. Yeah, it was definitely funny. I just watched the first one this afternoon. Godzilla vs Kong, and he was like, yeah, like this guy is the only seemingly relevant person, or maybe not relevant, but like
relatable.
Maybe relatable. Yeah, like.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Everybody else though. I hated the guy. All right, I'm done. I hated that guy. Oh my god.
Trapper?
Oh my yes.
The guy with the
I hated this dude.
Okay.
I don't know why, but like stop. Just stop. Stop knowing things you have no business knowing. You're a dentist and you do what? Yeah. Stop. Why do you know about this hidden project? Why? You're a dentist. You can do what? Stop. Why do you know that these monsters can change colors?
Hey, Juice. He was
How can you leave the monsters to change colors to do shit for? All right. So he just needed to stop. But other than that,
he was a veterinarian, movie, man. Right? Come on. Huh?
He's a veterinarian?
He was a vet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. You're right.
He still had no business knowing all that shit. Like, what the hell?
Fuck, you know this.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I give it a cool. Let me say 8.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, work.
All right, G.
Let me go. Go next.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the movie. Godzilla X Kong. All right, so definitely the visuals were cool. I don't know if it's the coolest kaiju movie out there. I initially felt after I got out of the theater, I liked the first Godzilla vs Kong a little better than Godzilla X Kong. There was a lot of things like halfway through Godzilla X Kong, I was like, what is this movie about? Okay, because like where is the marriage between Godzilla and Kong? Because it's not Godzilla vs Kong, it's Godzilla X Kong, right? So Godzilla didn't have much to do in this movie. He was just kind of there, I mean, he went around and took out a few kaiju here and there in the beginning, but there was no reason. This could have been Skull Island 2 with a cameo by Godzilla, at the end,
Interesting.
Scar King, I don't even know where he came from. Like, I thought he was a little too acrobatic, like as far as ninja type. He knew how to fight too much. I wish he would have been a little more animalistic. And
well, I think that's because they resemble orangutans, right? Like, so
yeah, a lot more, so he would move differently. Yeah, but he was like using the whip and using the weapons, and even I like the way they handled when Kong got his axe in the first movie. He wasn't like an official axe, like he wasn't throwing the axe and doing all this cool. I mean, he was using the tool as you think a monkey would know how to use a tool, right? Like they use sticks in real life, and but it wasn't a part of him. I mean, this guy had was he enhanced somehow? Like, how did he know how to use this whip like that? And maybe I'm thinking
questions we all have, right? Like, I mean, imagine if a guy came into a community of like, I don't know, monkeys, right? and you have tools, and you have know-how, and you have knowledge. How long before you start ruling? How
How
long
did he
before
get those? And
between when Scar got there to
one
when he
thing that,
began ruling these other gorillas or monkeys? I don't know.
yeah, they don't
Question
I
that
tell
we
don't.
you.
had.
Well, the thing.
They,
Well,
and
the
they,
thing is,
they
the other question though is like, I don't think Scar came from anywhere. I think he was
was just there.
he was just there with everyone else. You know, like they
Like
probably
they
discovered the place at the same time. It's just maybe Scar is special in
took
his
over.
own
And
way. You know, so he was able to take over because he was probably smarter than all the
they
others.
they never
Yeah.
actually
Okay.
explained or touched on what they were trying to do. Like what was that community doing? Because when we saw them, they were just collecting rocks. It's like, what were they trying to? That's what I said. They didn't clearly explain what was at stake in this movie, besides Kong finding his people. Which that's what I said. It could have been Skull Island Part 2 as opposed to Godzilla X Kong. I thought like their relationship, the way they kind of bounced off each other, was a little. The story was a little more well told in the first one. Like Godzilla wanted Kong because it's an alpha thing. He has to, once Kong leaves the Skull Island containment facility or Skull Island, Kong's going to come for him because Kong has to show dominance, or Godzilla has to show dominance. I'm sorry, but in this movie, it's like, I don't know. I didn't hate the movie. I'm not saying I hated it. It's just I didn't understand the story as much. The visuals were definitely dope. Like, how can you not like Kong appearing next to the freaking pyramids in Giza with a bionic hand coming up, onto the sand? And of course, that shit looked fucking dope. I just didn't know what they were trying to do. Is the issue I had. But everything else was cool, man. Like Godzilla, they didn't explain what was the charge up thing about? Like, why did he turn pink? I guess he absorbed the energy from that.
The pink monster.
Yeah. But what was the pinkness? I guess I'm looking too deep into it. I don't know. Maybe you're not supposed to go that deep into it. It's just you got to suspend your disbelief. Obviously, it's a movie about a giant ape and Godzilla. So you got to suspend disbelief.
Franco here cackling.
Yeah, and so just I guess for me to wrap up. I mean, we're not done talking about it, but I liked it. I think I liked the first one a little better just because of the story. Obviously there was cool parts in the movie. Star King is definitely dope. I wouldn't mind if he came back. Actually, I think he was a good foil for Kong. And
he ain't coming back.
Nah, he ain't coming back. Yeah. And at the end, that big kaiju that Kong was riding, I don't see that kaiju letting Kong ride him, or even Scar King's. Like, I feel like that fucking kaiju, I forget the name of it, but it fucking like, it damn near burned off Kong's hand. Like, I could fuck you up if I want to. You're not gonna get on my back and ride me, Godzilla, if that thing is on par with Godzilla's not letting anybody ride him. He's not letting Kong or
Godzilla
ride him.
Right.
You ride? What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
So I think for final score, I'll probably IMDb gave it a 6.6. I usually tend to agree with IMDb. I think I'll give it a 7. I'll go a little bit higher than them. I wasn't bored. I was never bored. I just didn't understand what are they trying to accomplish in this goddamn movie? What's happening? And that guy was annoying. The guy who just knew everything because he was like trying to be the funny, smart guy, and it just didn't land a lot of times to me. I never thought in this movie, like you said, the humans were irrelevant, but I kind of missed the human element a little bit. I thought they did a better balance in Kong versus Godzilla, the human element, because they were there and they were involved in the story, but they didn't really. The action was
every time the humans came up, I got bored though. No.
Yeah. And there was no surprises in this movie. Like, it wasn't like Mecha Godzilla emerging from that mountain, blasting everything in half and just killing indiscriminately. Like, that moment and when Mecha Godzilla actually burst out, like,
you weren't like surprised to see the fucking ice dragon hidden under the waterfall of lava?
Not really. I was more surprised about Scar King. I was like, what are they doing? Like, what is he trying to get them to do? What is he trying to get them to accomplish in this movie, Like, what was he trying to? Why was he ruling them? What were they doing? They were just there, just existing. Why did they attack Kong when he first appeared? Like to them, he's like they try to jump him. Like, why? He's one of you, you know. I love the way Kong showed dominance there. Like he fucked them up and was like, "Yo, take me to your leader." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the little kid Kong.
Oh, and then he was trying to give niggas chance, man. Like, I'm sorry, dude. I was feeling for Kong in this jump.
He caught the one that fell over the cliff. Like, yeah, I don't want to kill you. Like, I finally found you.
Yeah.
You know?
But this nigga Kong was also like, you get one chance. Like, oh, what?
Yep.
He Spartan kicked this nigga off the edge of that.
They're animals, bro.
Yeah,
do you like Kong's bionic hand? I'm looking at the trailer right now, man. I like the hand. I like it.
Oh man, I fucking pulled these images and shit. I ain't even fucking showing nothing.
But I feel like if he's gonna have the hand, he doesn't need the axe. We don't need to like,
nope,
you know,
both.
I
need
don't
both.
know. I like Kong being primal. I like him being primal.
He's weak. He's weak compared to Godzilla.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's weak.
He needs those advantages.
He needs tools.
Maybe they can do like a gauntlet where it projects a shield so he can still block Godzilla's blast. You know,
all right, that's too much.
I mean, come on. Like,
Captain America, Joe. You gonna throw it?
It's just like
Kong got to throw the Captain America shield.
Yeah. I like how they explained it though. And he had like the tooth infection at the beginning, and then they showed how the vet would come and implant the tooth, and that explains his hand later on. And he just had that equipment on hand. He just had equipment to put a bionic hand on Kong. You know, like, why the hell?
Right. He just had that shit on hand, man. I was like, yo, what the fuck?
That dude was an engineer. He was a vet. He knew all the history of the tribes and shit.
He was like, I just happen to have a spare Kong tooth here. Yeah. Put a right fang for the exact one he needed. Like, look at it. Why are you here?
You got to suspend your disbelief, man. I like the visuals, man. These movies look like $1 million, man. Legendary, that's the production studio behind this. They have a reputation now at this point. Like most of their movies are good. Most of them, whatever's done by Legendary, you know. If you see that title come up at the beginning of a movie, you're like, okay, this is going to be visually good. Because they did all the
that shit, man.
They did all the Underworld movies. I don't know. Yeah, they just got a reputation there, man. I don't know who's winning, Godzilla or Godzilla -1. Godzilla.
Godzilla.
I would say this Godzilla.
Godzilla -1.
Oh, I doubt it. Nah. He wasn't nowhere near.
Wait, you mean in a fight?
Yeah, in a fight.
Godzilla.
Well, Godzilla. Yes, clearly.
In a fight. Like, look at this nigga. Like he was.
That poster makes no fucking sense.
Mm-hmm.
That poster makes no goddamn sense.
It makes more sense to me now that I've seen it.
No. I'm talking about their size. They're not that fucking big. Like, come on, guys.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see the helicopters. Wait, they're not though?
No.
They're not. They're definitely not clouds big. But they're about that size of the fucking helicopters.
Maybe they're in a valley or something. Yeah.
Nah, well, I don't think so. It looks like they're above the clouds.
Oh yeah, no, they're not fucking.
They're not taller. They're not much taller than buildings. Buildings. You know,
they were walking around shoulder height to buildings in Hong Kong and shit. But all right, Frank, yo, what's up, man? All right, what you got?
Bro, I like the bionic.
Well,
hand.
no, you didn't rate it.
Yeah, so I think I give it about a 7.
Oh, 7. Okay, that's right. Okay. All right. I did not like this movie at all.
At all?
No.
Okay.
So here are my problems with this movie. So D, your review was fire. I agree with pretty much everything you said, right? There was a lot of the movie which made zero sense. A lot also like logically, right? And yes, we're talking about a movie with a giant fucking ape and a giant dinosaur. But like I'm talking about like if they wanted to make a movie with some kind of flow with the plot, they failed miserably here. I also agree with what you said that it seemed like they wanted to make Skull Island too. Like that's exactly what it seems like they wanted to do, but it seems like they failed doing it. So they marketed it as another Godzilla versus Kong movie, because most of the movie, also like you said, D, was Kong. Godzilla was not in it a lot at all. Like he had his fights, but his fights were 5 fucking seconds long, and then you skip to the humans doing their human bullshit, and then you focus more on Kong doing Kong stuff in Skull Island, or whenever he encounters the Scar King apes or orangutans or whatever. One of the dumbest things that this movie did was the part with the tooth. Right? They literally wrote that in there just to establish a character that magically had all of the equipment and all of the knowledge in order to install the prosthetic tooth. And then it graduated to a prosthetic arm. And then it graduated to him knowing a little bit about the flora and the fauna in the islands that when they were on it. Another really dumb thing was the whole plot with the little girl, and that whole thing with her being bonded to the island, and she for some reason she's still the only one that knows how to communicate with Kong, even though she's just using ASL. And that entire plot thread just was unnecessary. Just get it the fuck out of here. Now to the monster stuff. Yeah, cool. Visually impressive. Really big fights. Godzilla. I would have liked to have seen more Godzilla do his thing, but he was in the movie for like 10 minutes. And then going to Kong. Now I'll give respect to Kong. Kong did his thing, but of course the movie was focused more on him, because again, I think this should have been Skull Island too, but they just didn't want to, they didn't want to call it that. Kong did his thing. Kong gave the chances to the little Kong. You could also tell that the whole little Kong thing was corporate interference with whatever they may have wanted to write into this movie. That little Kong, again, didn't fucking need to be there. Like we were already vibing with Kong of what he was doing, right? Like it could have been a solo story of him discovering the new island with the orangutans, and then coming across the Scar King, and then whatever. The little Kong absolutely did not need to fucking be there. That they were trying to make us, I guess, sympathize with Kong, maybe look at him as more of a patriarchal figure, or give him more compassion. But I think we were already on that level of compassion. So what they were trying to do there was unnecessary. They could have used that energy, that creative energy, towards something else, maybe putting more Godzilla into the movie. Now, the end of the movie was fire, right? The last battle was really fucking good. Mm-hmm. But just like a whole lot of other shitty movies like it, they fucking put the best part at the end to convince you that you saw a good movie, when we had 90 minutes of trash before that. And then the end is great, and you're like, yo, that movie was mad good, son. Nah, this movie was not good. The end was great, but we had to suffer through the 90 minutes of garbage. Like the pacing was horrible. Visually, yes, the movie was impressive, but the pacing was terrible. They were jumping around so much between the humans and then Kong and then Godzilla with his 5 seconds, and then back to the humans. But they wanted to focus more. They didn't seem to know if they wanted to focus more on the humans or Kong, because the humans nobody gave a shit about, but the humans speak English, and the humans are supposed to be relatable to us. So they straight up said, like, okay, let's maybe try to give them equal share. but no one cares about the fucking humans in this movie, and rightfully so, because it was a mess. Like it was every single one of them. It was just a fucking mess. Like I would say Bernie, he was cool, but he was like straight up comic relief, and he had zero depth, right? And maybe you don't want to expect a lot of depth from these human characters, but if you want to make us relate to them, give them some sort of depth. Give them some sort of thing where we can say like, hey, that makes sense, or hey, I see why they would do that, or why they would think that, or why they have this plan, instead of coming out of nowhere saying like, oh man, yo, Kong's arm is fucked up. Wait a minute, I remember this thing that happened in the 70s that they were working on, and we happen to be in the exact spot in the exact place where this thing was being worked on.
And so, he had the vehicle that he used for the tooth there in Hollow Earth. I'm like, wait a minute, wasn't Kong on the surface?
Well,
so
I
like,
think did he go? I thought he went back for that. Like,
I thought he went to the destroyed facility that was down there.
Yeah.
Monitoring station.
So I like, yeah, I didn't like the movie at all. I thought Godzilla versus Kong was better. To me,
Godzilla -1 definitely had the better human story.
Oh, absolutely, 100%,
yeah,
100%. But I would also I would say comparing Godzilla versus Kong to Godzilla X Kong, like Godzilla versus Kong to me was better, although it seemed like they were a little confused in Godzilla versus Kong as far as like, you know, who they wanted to have the spotlight, but it wound up going towards Kong, making him like the hero. And again, vibing with Kong here in this movie, but like, nah, like a lot of Kong, the elements of Kong's story could have been completely eliminated, completely left out. Again, the tooth. Why? Just so you could have this fucking character that nobody fucking likes or cares about to come in just to create this plot thread all the way to getting his arm, to getting the metal
arm. They had to plant the seed of you getting his arm. How's he going to get the arm? Who installs it? Who puts it on?
I mean, he lived like he's like one. Like, keep going. Come on.
No. Well, say what you're gonna say.
Yeah. No. I was gonna say like it's kind of established that like the primates, like they even talked about it in the movie, like the primates, the great apes lived alongside the people, right? Mm-hmm. So they have always kind of had a I guess symbiotic or some kind of cohabitated relationship with the people. And when people get technology, right, they just shows that Kong only being there because of people, because of the humans got him there, and they're monitoring him, they're keeping a track on him, they're kind of taking care of him while he's out there, right? That he would have
to go there. He knew to go there when the tooth was hurting, you know.
Yeah, that's where he went to, right? Like that's their relationship. So it makes sense that he would, if they have technology, right, that he would use their technology, right? That's why they even let him. That's why they even left it on him, right? Like, he didn't tear the arm off, right? He could have. They were saying, but he left it on. Just go use it.
So that still goes back to the point of this should have been a Skull Island 2, right? Like that, something like that plot thread makes more sense with a Skull Island 2, where it's completely just focused on Kong and about his history with the symbiotic relationship with the humans, and about how
Skull Island is destroyed.
Skull Island is destroyed,
and also they are in Hollow Earth, and
well, it could have been.
All right, sorry, I don't. You need to rate this movie so we can debate. God damn it.
Okay. I'm gonna give this movie a 4.
Okay.
4 because this movie. I think there was a good movie in there somewhere. I really do, but like I don't know, for some reason I was watching it and I was like seeing it with the eyes of like, I'm like, oh God, like this is where this is where Bill from marketing thought it would be a good idea to put this in the movie, or you're seeing like, again, like that really bothered me, like the plot, like the tooth to the fucking arm, like it was literally just written in there just so Kong could have the fucking arm put on him.
I'll concede 2 points off break, right? 2 points off break. One, the pacing was bad. You're right.
It was terrible.
That's just how it was. Like,
terrible.
Right. This is it. And then 2, yeah, like the idea that arm was just there, just ready to go, fit, blah blah blah. Yeah, that was fucking ridiculous. That guy was annoying, and they put too much on him.
They did.
They could have mentioned the arm in a fucking side conversation or some kind of. They could have done other things to bring up that they have technology for.
Was the arm really necessary? No,
I didn't mind it. I
didn't mind it either.
I feel like it gave him an edge.
But was it necessary? But was it necessary? I'm talking about in the grand scheme of things, right?
No, he could have just used that.
He could have just used the axe. And
his arm was fucked up. In the way, the armor was kind of like a support for his arm.
His arm was fucked up, but
like he couldn't be out there fighting them with a fucked up arm.
He could fight them with the other arm with the axe. Right, Godzilla could have came. He had another arm.
Fucking Godzilla,
working arm, and Godzilla could have came in and helped him. Like, dog, I got you. Put him. That's why I'm saying, like, dog, Godzilla. I'll be your left arm.
Godzilla's not fucking with Kong, so like he's not.
Yeah, whoa, hold on, dude. Godzilla was saved by Kong in the last movie, and they came to. There was a visual.
You saw what Godzilla when Kong popped out that motherfucker twice. Godzilla was like, "I gotta go kill this nigga." The first time when Kong came out to get his tooth fixed, they were gotta hurry the fuck up because Godzilla could smell this nigga. We gotta get him out of here. The second time when he popped up in in Egypt, Godzilla was like ready. He was like, "Oh, you the nigga I gotta fight. Let's go. I recognize you, and I don't give a fuck." Like Godzilla,
because Kong was like, "Yo, chill."
Yeah, I was like, "Yo, chill." Godzilla was like,
I was about to say they could have just had a cameo with like Godzilla showing up to save Kong, but you're right. Godzilla didn't give a fuck about Kong.
He's
like, wait.
Look, remember when Godzilla saved Kong in the last movie? I just watched it. Godzilla saved Kong in the last movie. Kong just beat. He made him drop the fucking axe before he turned around and left. Because Godzilla would have fucked him up if he thought he could stand up.
Yeah, Godzilla was so fucked up. He was like, "Yo, all right, you dropped it. All right, we good, man. I'll be back, man."
I'll be back. I'm tired right now. Fuck around, though.
Godzilla got his ass.
I will.
That first movie, bro.
And can you refresh my memory real quick? Y'all said you just saw the first movie recently. Okay. Well, do you remember how Kong got the axe?
He found it.
Yeah, that she was just fucking sitting there in the skull of some like creature just sitting in the cave.
I thought it was a Godzilla or maybe one of those little snake monsters, the flying snakes that attacked him or something.
No.
Okay. So
he found
it.
One of those monsters.
He found it in nature, and he figured that he could use it as a weapon.
No. It was remember he found the cave. He found a place where these people were, and it was just in the ground, already tied up, already weaponized and everything. And it was just like in the skull of like some other dead creature. And he just picked it up, was like, "It's mine now." Threw it on his shoulder and sat down on the throne.
So thinking about that, right? Like just a quick aside, but thinking about that, right? Like to me, like that makes a lot more sense as far as like him getting a weapon. It's kind of like something out of like God of War, right? Where it's like every single time Kratos gets a new weapon, it's like an event, right? It's like something that makes sense to the plot, to the progress of the story. Whereas this maybe not so much, but to me it seemed more organic. It seemed more natural that it's something. You said it was already tied up. It was already weaponized. So I think it makes you start thinking like, how did it get there? Who used it before?
Yeah. You're curious.
It definitely makes you curious, right? And then it's like, I'm going. My whole point is about the arm again, right?
Mhm.
Where it's like they just give him this arm, and yeah, his arm was fucked up. They needed a reason to like have him have this new prosthetic.
Mhm.
Again, plot thread with the one character, but like they just give him this arm. It's just like it was just convenient that like this arm was already made. You know,
Well, it was convenient that the axe was just sitting there when he walked in.
So again, but it's the method. It's like the method of delivery.
They
Right.
needed a way for him to be able to contend with Godzilla's blast, which he found a shield and a weapon that could put him on par with, to at least be able to keep up with Godzilla, because there's nothing he can do about the blast.
Hey, and remember,
Now
Scar
I found
King,
the axe that I can block
that
with
fucking axe was not a fucking like issue for Scar King.
Right.
Like this nigga didn't give a shit about the axe. This
Why was
nigga
Scar
fucking
King
whipped that
so
shit out
well
his hand
trained?
real quick.
Scar King was very well trained. I'm like, where did you come from? We need a little bit of your
Bro,
origin.
you need I got questions,
Yeah.
man.
Where are you? Why are you so much more leveled up than all these other apes around?
Why are you red?
Frank,
Why do your eyes glow like that?
Frank brought
Their
up
eyes don't glow
little
like his
vermin.
eyes glow.
Frank brought up the little.
Why can he use that crystal?
Yeah.
Right.
Questions like, what the
Where
fuck
the
is
hell
that
did he
crystal?
get the crystal? You know
What
what I
is
mean?
it?
Like,
Yeah.
how did he put this weapon together? You know. Anyway, so look, he found Frank brought up the little Iwi girl. I didn't mind their little psychological connection or whatever it was, their little symbiotic connection, because you remember there was a scene where the Iwi people were they picked up like a boulder that was like 5 tons, right?
Yeah.
And who was the guy? The black guy explained why they were able to pick it up.
Right.
It was something with reversing gravity.
It was gravity.
So they kind of
Using
had
gravity,
like a
manipulating
relationship
gravity.
with the energy around them, you know. So maybe
Also,
she
remember,
descended
they
from
didn't
that.
talk at all.
Yeah,
They
they
spoke.
didn't.
They were telepathic completely.
Yeah.
Right. So I thought I didn't necessarily mind that part, but I see what you're saying.
thought
Like
that
the
was
little
cool.
girl didn't need to be there. Like, what was she doing?
The little girl didn't need to be there. The main character, the scientist, she didn't need to be there. I mean, even Bernie didn't really need to be there.
I mean, the guy who flew them in didn't need to be there either. The nigga died in like 2 seconds. But
he
like,
didn't need to be there. And Trapper, unfortunately, he was the actual person that needed to be there in order to further that shitty plot thread.
But even he didn't need to be there, because that fucking could have been that could have been panned out through a story, like through side comments, through any number of conversations. All those things could have been panned out. But
I feel like the arm is disposable, right? His main weapon, is that. You know, the arm will probably get destroyed next movie.
I also feel like the arm, again, it helped, and I didn't mind it, but like it was absolutely, to me, unnecessary. Like,
I would have liked to see him reclaim his axe to be able to go up against Scar King. Like, the arm didn't impact the fight really at all, you know?
No.
I want to say, like, you guys both said that you felt like this should have been like you didn't understand like why all this was happening. Am I getting that right? Like, you guys said, like, why are we?
Like, what were they trying to?
We understand that he's there to save his people that he found, but you're saying that why didn't he? What was that argument again?
At least, like, not save his people, because they were already existing without him. He discovered them, so he's discovering his people. But I think where it fell, like, the whole plot kind of fell apart for me when they found the civilization of apes, and they were just kind of meandering around, picking up boulders, and what were they trying to do? You know, because Kong came in, like, Godzilla's already not in the movie, so we don't know what the hell he's doing. Kong comes in, finds his
like
people.
They were slaves. They were slaves to the Scar King, but what were they doing?
I thought that's where the plot fell apart. It's like, why? So Kong comes in, picks a fight with Scar King. Makes sense. They're both dominant. But like, what were the people doing that Kong wanted to?
But is that like relevant?
It's supposed to be, yes.
What they're doing relevant?
Yes, because why would Kong pick a fight with the alpha of this?
Because they were about to fuck up a monkey that he didn't think needed to be fucked up.
No.
No, he stepped in to protect somebody.
And that's fine. But for all we know, that's how shit occurs in their natural habitat, in their natural world. So Kong maybe should have just like left it alone for a little bit, right? Because we're just walking in there with Kong and we're making all these assumptions, just because
Kong,
maybe this is the way it's supposed to be.
They missed.
I don't think so, because we understand they have a civilization,
right?
Yeah.
And
so
maybe
that moment,
maybe this is Kong coming in with his fucking liberal ass ideologies and shit.
Yeah,
but it doesn't matter because his liberal ass ideology is like, yo, you're not about to fucking kill this monkey here. I'm not gonna let you do that.
I thought all y'all niggas was dead. I thought all y'all niggas was dead, man.
No, and that's fine. But again, we don't know. Again, we don't know the rules.
They missed the chance.
They didn't tell us the rules of this.
They missed the chance for character development.
They didn't know the
background
rules.
story on Scar King and what they were doing.
No. Of course there are rules because Scar King is the leader.
That's
how do you ascend there?
That is a rule, but that is a rule by force. That is a rule by force. That is a rule
because he's stronger.
At that moment, instead of having them,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, man. At that moment, instead of having them immediately fight, maybe have Kong kind of scope out the scene and like take a few minutes to let's see what's going on here.
Take some time because, like, yo, I'm sorry, but like these are animals, right? This is nature.
What gorilla is going to roll up into a new? All right. So I'm thinking
I don't mind them
right?
immediately fighting because that's how
Kong
animals
is a hero, right? The same reason. This is all the same reason. It's the same reason he tried to give the other monkey a chance before he kicked him off. Sparta kicked him off the edge. It's the same reasonings. It's the same logical conclusion. So he rolls up in here, saying that like, look, I'm here now. What the fuck's going on? What's up? What's up with all this? Hey guys, I'm here. What's up?
So
and he sees some shit about to go down. He's like, "Whoa, no!"
Right there, it doesn't matter. He's still making assumptions. It's still making assumptions. Maybe this is the way things are. They did not give us a chance to establish the rules of this place. Maybe he was about to get murked. Maybe that's just the way shit is.
There was a scene. There was a scene where
Scar King didn't do anything. To me, the Scar King didn't really do anything like that aggressive for Kong to start just attacking. Yeah, another one of the people was gonna get killed.
Yo, he threw the fucking monkey into the lava.
Yeah,
but they've been here for thousands of years.
It was his homies. It was his homies, like mother or something.
Listen to what D just said. Listen to what D just said, though.
What are the rules of this place? Like, what are the laws? Like, they're already here. They have a civilization.
They were there with an established civilization. Maybe whatever happened was part of the rules of that civilization. And then Kong comes in and starts just wrecking shit just because he sees one thing.
Question. Did Kong know anybody from his civilization beforehand?
No,
he did. No, he did. He did.
And see what's going
he had parents.
Oh, well, yes.
So he has an idea of how things operate. He lived with the people. He lived in a relationship with those people on Skull Island at the other place.
He didn't live with them.
He said Skull Island.
It doesn't matter. He's coming. You were right. He is coming up with his own. He's coming up with his own presuppositions. Yes, I agree with that. Now, do we expect him, being the bestial protagonist of this movie, to come in and not act off of his instinct?
Of course, he's gonna act.
Like Kong doesn't scope shit out. Like he's not gonna. He doesn't. He hasn't. He hasn't.
But you figured he would when he finds a whole
ran right up to Godzilla off break, son. He got his ass beat, but he does. That's what he does.
Right.
They said in Godzilla vs. Kong that Kong's parents were killed when Kong was young. Right. They were killed by the Skull Leaders. So he's never seen anybody from his species until this moment. So
his parents.
Like, maybe like instead of just showing Scar King off the break, they should have had a moment where like. You remember, you don't have, not all communication is verbal, right? When they had the small Kong we got the whole sense that Kong wanted the small Kong to eat. He tried to give him some of the animal that he killed. You know, we got what they were trying to convey. So maybe instead of Kong going in there and trying to wreck shop off the break, and this is not Kong's fault because I would expect him to act bestially versus they have to show dominance. Like you don't let another dominant male roll into your territory, right?
I don't think we've gotten that from Kong so far, though.
They shouldn't. I think
up to this point we've had Kong show examples of benevolent behavior.
They shouldn't have shown Kong
constantly, regularly.
They shouldn't have shown Scar King so early. They should have let Kong come in, walk around, see some of the other apes, see how they're interacting. What are they doing? Like, let him walk up to the Scar King and just take 5 or 10 minutes to establish, well, what are we doing here? Who rules this place? Well, you got to go talk to him, you know?
I agree that in nature, right? Like, there's an alpha. And I agree that in nature. Yeah, he's back. I agree that in nature there's an alpha, right? And then you have someone like Kong coming in, and that challenges the alpha. But the purpose of that is to become the alpha, to become the alpha. And now we know going in that's not what Kong wanted. Kong was just happy to see others, like him. But
that's how shit turned out.
But it turned out that way, sure. Right, and it might have seemed that, like, it might have seemed what's the word I'm looking for, but that he didn't want to do it, but like it happened anyway. But like at the same time, destiny. But like at the same time, like I think to a point, again, Kong's walking in there, and I think they could have handled that. I think it could have handled that entire interaction differently, right? They didn't give us time to sympathize with the civilization, to even get to know the civilization.
Were they unhappy? Were
they happy or unhappy? Just because based on the looks on their face, because they were working hard, we assume. Again,
we did see that they had categories. There were tiers. We saw that.
Yeah, we did see that.
So he had enforcers, and you had grunts.
So that means that there was some sort of government, that was established, right?
And then the king came down.
So to the point of Kong coming in with the liberal ass preconceptions.
It's liberal ass preconceptions, man.
And starting to
social justice warrior.
If one of them got killed, maybe it's just the nature of things, right?
He ain't having that.
He ain't having that, but it's not his place to make that decision.
He also didn't give a fuck.
It's okay. So you agree then? Because
I agree that Kong's behavior is aligned with Kong.
It is aligned with Kong.
Okay.
But doing what he did, it seemed to me it
started some shit.
Again, it seemed to me, yes, it started some. And it seemed to me that
exactly what we needed to progress the movie.
Thank you.
Yes.
Nonsense.
That's not what
nonsense.
We just went through why it happened. Why is that nonsense? How else would it have happened? They're not gonna play chess.
Why it happened? We went through why it happened. But does that mean it makes sense? Does it mean that it makes sense for this fucking ape to come in and say like, oh shit, I didn't like what you did over there, so I'm gonna fucking try to kill you? And then, of course, Scar King is going to come out. He's like, well, nah, I'm not going to let that shit happen. And I'm going to pull out my trump card. I'm going to take you on. And then see, you're stronger than I thought. I'm going to pull out my trump card and then have her fuck you up. And then, you go about your way. And you know that I'm the alpha here. There's a government here. There's everything is established here. Everything works a certain way here. You can't just come in and expect that I'm going to let you break the fucking rules.
I think that was.
I just don't see why this is bad storytelling.
The rules that it is 100% bad storytelling, because
bad storytelling.
It's about show and tell, and they didn't show us. It's about show and tell. Most of movie making is showing and telling. It's a skill of showing and telling, right? They did not show us enough for us to to justify Kong doing what he did. What happened was they were like, "Yo, this is the bad place, and that's the king of the bad place.
Yes.
And as the hero, you're gonna go punch out the bad person. You're gonna go punch out the bad person." But
which I would expect from a giant ape. But I think the writers just missed a chance for world building and plot development at that moment in the movie, where I was like, "What is this movie about?" Because when they just skipped over that and started jumping around again, and you're like,
that question leads to other questions, right? Like we're curious about other shit that happened in the movie, but like, they were there for a long time before Kong came up in there. So, like, again, we needed to know what the rules were. Maybe they could have been explained with one of the human plot threads, right? Maybe like there's a rumor or a story or a history with the supposed inhabitants of this part of Hollow Earth, where they actually have like governance and laws and a civilization where things maybe just work in this way because they are animals, right? They're not human, but like they are animals and things just work in this way. And if you're not following the hierarchy, if you're not following the way things work, then maybe you get murked. And that's just the way it is. And they've been living this way for how many fucking decades? Centuries.
All right, so let me say this. They did establish that this was not their natural state for these primates, for the great apes. They established that in the movie. This is not their natural situation. This is not their normal, huh?
How?
Over time,
in that chamber where they talked about how Scar King came to power and how he was pushed back down. So they established that that's not how they lived.
That was
also we know the fact they had another chamber which is where Kong found the axe. That's where they were before.
So
and then they were pushed down to that area by Godzilla and his ilk.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but that was after.
Hey, nice use of the word ilk, D. I like that.
Thank you. Yes, they did talk about that afterwards. Yes.
Again, show and tell. They could have alluded
explained
to that.
All of this.
I can see that the pacing is weird, but it also would have been weird if they were like, if they'd have told that story beforehand.
I think it would have been less weird if they told.
I don't know.
Not the entire story. Maybe like alluding, like say, hey, here's the Scar.
Well, then that's up to the dealer's. That's dealer's choice, then, right? Like, whether you put it here or there, like it's in there. Whether you put it at the beginning or you put it like in the middle or put it in the end, like that's up to the directors, right? And I don't think that anything that placement particularly would make it like worse, right? Like whether you put it right before the fight or you put that segment after the fight. It wasn't very long after the fight where they brought that up, where they went down, they found those people and went to that chamber. Because right after that, Kong came all effed up.
Right, but the thing is, that's exactly my point. Showing and telling. They didn't have to explain the whole fucking story. They could have even done it in both places, right? Give us a little bit to make us understand that world a little more. Kong is in there. Maybe Kong is scoping the situation out, doing a little reconnaissance before stepping in. And then maybe it gives him time. It also gives us time to understand what is actually right and wrong in this place.
So
and then after the fight, and then after the fight happens, after his observation or whatever, then explain the rest of the story afterwards.
That's an option they could have done. I don't think it would. Okay, that's an option they could have done. I don't know, better or worse, I don't know. But like here, as far as establishing though, we learned a lot from the little monkey Kovu, whatever his name is, the little monkey guy.
Yeah, don't ask me the names.
Little Kong.
Little red. Actually, I call him Little Scar.
Oh yeah,
little red ass. But Like we learned like a lot about their civilization, how they were living from that interaction when he first got there and he got jumped, right?
Did we
Mhm.
learn a lot?
To huh?
Did we learn a lot, or did Kong come in there and start a fight?
No, he walked up. They attacked him.
Well, that's why I mean
I'm
And
talking about when
again,
he
they
first
attacked
got to
him,
the
but they didn't.
underworld, which is weird. I got
when
questions about that too.
you mean when he first walked in, right? Like
Not into the cave. When he first got to
The
the
underworld, bro. Yeah.
the underworld area,
okay,
right?
okay,
And he was jumped by those was like two or
forces. Yeah.
yeah, and then the little guy. And
Which
then
even wouldn't they be like, what are you like? Wouldn't they have a second to take a pause and be like, who are you? Like,
here's the thing
what are you
also.
doing?
We have a also again, it was another point where they talked about why was that facility destroyed, right?
The one with the arm?
Yeah, why was it destroyed when they got there?
I don't remember.
Yeah, why
Scar
was
came
it?
up there and he fucked it up.
Did they?
So
Really?
it's reasonable, yeah. So it's reasonable to think
Yeah, they
that
did. He
Scar,
flashed it.
his
Yeah.
eye was in the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right.
So
That's
then
right.
it was reasonable to think that he sent those guys out there with his little monkey son to lead them to go find Kong and fuck him up because he knows that Kong is being watched over by these humans.
See, we could have like Frank said, show and not tell. They could have shown us or told us that.
Why do you?
I,
Okay,
This is
maybe they're
purely the fault of the
expecting.
writers and not
oh,
Kong.
yeah. I mean,
They could have slowed down in that moment, show Kong scoping the place out, show how Scar King came to power. I don't know how they could have done it. Maybe a voiceover or something, like quick
Look,
line.
Kong
Hey,
walking, dick
maybe the
swinging,
vet, maybe
axe on his
the
shoulder.
vet. I'm
Like
sure the
he's not
vet
giving a
knew
fuck
how
about
Scar King
rules. He's
came
like,
into
hey,
power.
I'm here,
I'm sure.
guys.
I'm sure the vet knew how Scar King came into power.
So that's one of the parts. So what you were saying.
How is Scar King able to control this ice kaiju? How does he have this? You know,
I think that's based on his intelligence. Like he obviously seems smarter, and he obviously is the leader for a reason. And I think it has a lot.
Also,
to do
his
with
eyes glow. I don't know what that means, but it's the thing.
I think it was just a
I
cool
didn't
thing.
mind. Like you said, you do need a cool villain. I didn't mind Scar King. I just wanted them to slow down in that moment and see what are we doing here? What are we trying to accomplish? What does Scar King want? You know, I think that the ice kaiju,
we know what he wanted. He wants to go back to the surface to take over.
Yeah, they did say that's what they tried to go there before, right?
Yeah, that's why they got beat down and cast into the underworld.
I will say probably one of the coolest scenes in this entire movie came in the beginning where Kong swam up to that tentacle kaiju, whatever it was like the octopus kaiju, and he blasted down the tentacles while the tentacles were like wrapping up around his face and shit. That was probably one of the coolest scenes. That was easily the coolest death.
Yeah, Godzilla.
Okay, you said Kong. My bad.
I'm sorry, Godzilla. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it came down and blasted the freaking breath for like right down the tentacles, man. That was dope. Yeah. But like
they also explained there. They explained the pink color. That's why that monster came out. Tiamat. That monster came out pink because that's what the energy it was gathering from that area, right? Mm-hmm. So apparently, I don't know why, but apparently at that intersection,
the reason why, and they actually explained it.
Aurora Borealis. I don't know.
So I will admit, this is a good split between showing and telling because they literally said in the movie that Jesus, you got me doing it now. Godzilla Godzilla needed to gather energy for something big, for a big threat. Now the thing is, like, what threat were they talking about? Was it the Scar King? Was it Shiva or Shimu? Was it Shimu or Shiva? I thought it was Shiva because Shimu.
Shiva's the ice queen from Final Fantasy VII.
Well, she's an ice goddess.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so was it for Shimu?
I think it was for Shimu. I don't think it was for Scar King in particular. I think it was for Shimu because Shimu was.
I didn't think that fight was.
They said that the Ice Age was caused by Shimu alone.
Right, they did say that.
Like that's the level Shimu is.
But the thing is, Godzilla. So again, here we go with the bit of the plot mess, right? Like Godzilla couldn't go to Hollow Earth without Kong letting him in. They said that word for word in the movie. So how did Godzilla know to prepare for Shimu? Sure, you can feel the energy, but if there's no way you can fucking get in there, what were you going to try to do if Kong wasn't conveniently there to bring you to Hollow Earth?
Hey, better to be safe than sorry.
Hey,
Yes.
so that is actually something that's explained in the show.
In the show?
In the show? The
Well, I'm trying to remember, but I do recall Godzilla can go to Hollow Earth, yeah. But he
they literally said in the movie, then I guess they fucked up because they literally said in the movie Godzilla can't come here unless Kong invites him or Kong brings him down
because he needed the portal.
Right.
Yeah, they did say that, yeah. And
I'm trying to remember. I remember there was something in the show because Godzilla went down in the show. Godzilla did go to Hollow Earth. Shit, I don't remember what happened though. I feel like they called him there because they were setting up the portals at that point. Shit, I don't remember though. But
I like the last fight with the ice monster, Shimu, whatever it was. But I didn't think that Godzilla necessarily showed dominance over him. I wanted them to go a little more toe to toe, because obviously Shimu was only in there as a foil to Godzilla. They needed someone to be able to match against Godzilla's strength, so I wanted them to go a little bit harder, but that wasn't the point. The point of this movie was Kong, which is why it should have just been Kong 2, or it didn't. Godzilla might have been a little more impactful if Godzilla made an appearance as opposed to.
Dude, it was literally Godzilla and Kong fighting. I'm not sure what we're missing. Why would it just be Kong 2 with the feature of Godzilla? Godzilla was in the whole fucking movie. What are you guys talking about?
The impact of the fight
wasn't in the whole movie, dude.
He was in the whole movie. He was the first one. He was the first one.
He was the first big kaiju.
They talked about, we watched him laying in the Coliseum, and then I don't know, and then he fought Timu. He fought Tiamat.
So
and then he charged up, and then he came out.
You're gonna literally say that Godzilla had more screen time than Kong in this movie?
I don't think it matters who had the most screen time. I think if we're talking about Godzilla and somebody, and they were fighting each other, they were fighting as a team.
They seem.
That's what it was about.
They only fought as a team for the last 5 minutes of the movie.
They're not friends.
I'm saying.
They fought each other and then they fought as a team.
At the same time, the movie's story, the movie's story was revolved heavily around Kong and his journey to find his people.
It's hard to tell a story about Godzilla.
It is.
Because he doesn't give a fuck.
It is.
He just wants to fight shit.
He's a force of nature. I get it.
It's like telling a story about Brawley. It's like you kind of need somebody with some fucking personality to fucking tell this story for him.
I get it.
He just wants to fight.
I get it. But Godzilla wasn't in the movie for a very long time. And Godzilla versus Kong, he was in the movie most of the time.
It was truly his movie. It was Godzilla versus Kong. It was their movie together.
But
it should have been Godzilla and Kong versus Mechagodzilla for real, because that was who they fought together against.
It absolutely should have been. I don't understand why they dropped the ball on that. I'm like, what? I'm like, why?
That part
I'm being sarcastic.
That part was.
I don't think that's reasonable at all.
That would be amazing.
Godzilla and Kong versus.
Yes.
No, because they fought each other for most of the movie. It should have been Godzilla versus Kong.
It's classic. It's classic. Bigger threat. The bigger threat comes, the great. For
also,
the good.
Look, hey. Also, if they'd have spoiled fucking Mechagodzilla, I'm sorry, Mechagodzilla popping out was dope. Okay.
That shit was cool.
That shit was cool as shit.
That was really cool.
That'd have spoiled that.
Because we knew it was him before, but I'm talking about the moment where he burst out of that mountain and Godzilla realized, oh shit, this is what I've been sensing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it didn't look like he was gonna come all the way together. And then when fucking Ghidorah repossessed the fucking body, what?
Oh my god, damn! It gave him a new body.
I will say one part I definitely really enjoyed about this movie, no sarcasm, was my queen Mothra.
My god, Mothra, yes.
I kind of came out of nowhere.
I almost didn't expect it, and it's the only thread with the humans that I actually appreciated, just because they brought Mothra out.
So
and
good.
I'm like, Mothra, she's my queen. I love Mothra, dude. Like in King of the Monsters, Mothra to me was everything. Like I loved her part in that, with her helping Godzilla and taking that blow. I'm like,
yeah. And this, she was like, fucking stop. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Godzilla she was like, Godzilla, chill.
Like, hey, and look, is it just me, or did Godzilla have an expression of like,
realization, right? Like an epiphany.
It's like, you. No, I'm sorry, man. I felt that, I felt that.
They explained that Mothra and Godzilla have a symbiotic relationship, a connection, or something like that, right? Yeah, so Godzilla is the protector of nature. Kong is the protector of the human beings. What does Mothra? Why is their relationship? Is she revitalizes nature or something? I'm sure I can look it up and find out.
That's exactly it. That's exactly
right.
It.
Okay, so that's why her and Godzilla have
You can look at her as Mother Nature,
right?
And Godzilla is the protector of nature, so essentially protecting her as well. And then you have Kong, who's the protector of the people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, man, that was dope. That was dope, and she looked really good.
She looked great. She looked great. I'm like, they're not gonna bring Mothra back, are they? And I was like,
of course.
They did it.
I'm like, Mothra dies all the time in old movies.
I know. She finally did it this time.
Real talk. I kind of glad they skipped the whole larva stage.
Yeah,
like the whole larva Mothra stage is like
true.
But they could have had her. They could have had her in the larva stage while Godzilla wasn't doing shit. He was just sitting in the Roman Coliseum. They could have had her in the larva stage.
I think
just Brian on his back and
having
shit.
having her in the larva state is like almost necessary build up for Mothra, right? But
yeah, you're right.
But like, I'm just glad they just brought her out on break. Like, just like, here I am.
yeah, true. You kind of like, missed the baby Mothra just shooting webs and like, look, I'm gonna trip you. Y'all fighting over here, but I might trip them from the side and shit.
I agree with you, Juice. Like, it is hard to make a Godzilla movie because it is similar to Broly. Like, it's just this loud, screaming monster that you do need. That's why Godzilla vs. Kong worked so well, because Godzilla was able to bounce him off of Kong, who could actually emote and had a personality.
Godzilla is like borderline obnoxious in this shit.
I think that's why we enjoy Godzilla the monster so much. Is because like they actually told a Godzilla story without, even despite the fact that it's hard to tell a Godzilla story. You know what I'm saying? But they told.
Yeah, true.
King of the Monsters is better than. Is it better than all these movies? King of the Monsters is better than
I 100% enjoy King of the Monsters better than both of those.
I think so, yeah.
100%. Like,
real talk though, but we had like because like Kong, but you can only kind of do that once, right? Like, you can only kind of do that once, because you would need
what once?
Like, no, fucking King of the Monsters, because you need a Ghidorah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need it was like the greatest hits of like all the monsters, dude. Like, they were all, and at the end, right? At the end of that movie, he became King of the Monsters, right? Like, they all bowed to him. The ones that were alive.
True. Which is it's like the only way to get this nigga to leave. Like, oh my god, everybody, come on. Oh my god.
He's gonna fuck us up, and he's gonna fuck up this world. Just
take the knee. Take the knee.
Take the knee, nigga.
Damn.
The only thing that movie left you wanting was to be able to see
like
more.
Debo.
You know what I mean? Like, you wanted to see more. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't spend enough time with enough of the monster. I want a part 2. I want Godzilla King of the Monsters part 2 so I can get
It's
more
coming,
monsters,
bro. If
you know?
this does well,
I would love King of the Monsters Part 2 because I love
here,
King of the Monsters.
look, they got monsters at the wazoo, and you don't think fucking Ghidorah and Mechagodzilla coming back?
Yeah, I mean,
Bro,
Mechagodzilla can always be rebuilt, right?
yeah, and Ghidorah, man, like there's fucking DNA out there. Somebody,
Ghidorah never
or
dies.
yeah,
And there was a third skull. They only used 2 in Godzilla vs. Kong, right?
That's true. No,
Yep.
They had one inside the suit, and the guy who was controlling it sat in
wasn't
one.
there a post-credit scene in King of the Monsters regarding that?
I think so.
I thought that's where they got the skull for Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah,
I thought that's where they got the skull for Mechagodzilla. But I thought in Godzilla vs. Kong, there was one skull inside of Mechagodzilla. There was one skull where the guy was controlling Mechagodzilla. But where's the third skull? Did it get blown off in King of the Monsters? I don't remember.
No,
It doesn't matter. They could bring it back.
Right,
also, there's aliens. The aliens haven't popped up yet. Like Ghidorah comes with aliens, right?
King of the Monsters
he's an alien.
Yeah, he's an alien, so he comes with alien people. So those motherfuckers ain't even showing up yet. So it's possible they could just write that shit in. And Rodan's somewhere out there.
I mean, Rodan is still alive, so there's that. Like Rodan was one of the ones that bowed to Godzilla at the end of King of the Monsters.
But didn't Scylla also bow the fucking monster at the beginning?
Yeah.
But then that motherfucker was just like, God, he fucking stepped out the line.
He was the first one he went after.
Hey, real talk. Tiamat is just a fucking victim, man. Godzilla needed some shit, and he went up in that domain and was like, "Look, I need your fucking power." And Tiamat was fucking around. Like, god damn, Godzilla don't give a shit, man.
He just stepped out of line.
Yeah, no. Scylla was out there walking around in Greece. He was like, dude, did I fucking tell you to leave?
Not for long.
Yeah, get your ass.
He died 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect Godzilla to give a shit. He doesn't care about. He's not emotional. He's a force of nature. So, but yeah, man, I didn't hate the movie, man. I'm going to watch it again when it comes on HBO Max. I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to watch it as many times I watched Godzilla vs. Kong or King of the Monsters. Or
I'm just gonna watch the end with my queen, and the final fight was dope.
I wonder where they're going to go in the third movie, because obviously we're getting a 3. Kong is the leader.
I don't know. Like to me, the movie didn't leave it open for a third movie. It just seemed like it ended there.
The thing is, like, my whole thing is, if they came up with so many goddamn Transformers movies, we can't get at least 2 more of these guys. Come on, we can get 2 more. Y'all got 37 Transformers movies nobody watched.
I mean, I think it would make sense to separate them maybe for a little while.
Yeah. You know, like I'd agree with that.
I'd agree with that too.
A Godzilla only movie, maybe feature him. You know, maybe they can write that elusive story with Godzilla being like the protagonist instead of the force of nature that he is, and then you have Kong with his new arm and his new axe. You know, he's got his hair did. And
he's got some cornrows.
He's going out. He's the new fucking alpha. He's the new king of that place now. You know, like
they definitely left it open for a third movie. I thought at least not a third movie for them, but at least another Kong movie. They left it open for.
Well, like what the thing is with Kong, like who is out there that would challenge him?
Yeah, that's my question. I feel like his story can kind of wrap up here.
I feel the same way. I feel like that's it for Kong, right? We're not going to see any more of him.
I think
unless something calls him away, like Godzilla or something, or a Godzilla monster where Godzilla goes to seek help from Kong, but Godzilla doesn't seek help from anybody. But
it's the classic hero's journey, right? I thought I was alone. I found my people. I've established myself as a leader. Now they need to show me leading. Like, what impact am I going to have on this community? You know,
well,
they definitely
not necessarily.
But the thing is, there's no conflict there because he's already there.
Hey, bring back Star King.
He's got
he was
bring
cool.
Him back. He's dead.
They can find a way around that. They can find a way around that.
Hey, Kong's out there riding Shimu. Like, we're not fucking with him, man.
Like, I think
Kong and Shimu are tight right now.
I think he's done, but maybe there has to be something that big enough that calls him away or calls him back, maybe to regular Earth.
Hey, let me just say, I want to say that like I am so glad they didn't kill Shimu. Like I kind of like Shimu, man. Like she was a dope beast,
Yeah,
four-legged,
Powerful.
like
He
white,
definitely looked cool.
super powerful.
Yeah.
I
Like
wanted
she
to
looked
fight
cool.
I wanted to fight with her and Godzilla to be a little more like in depth, like a little more. I don't know. I just wanted more of her because she was cool. She did look cool.
Dude, like
And I
I
liked
feel
her
like
power.
Godzilla was
Her,
she was
her
handing it
power
to this nigga,
caused,
man. Powered up and everything. She was
dude,
giving it to this nigga.
her power caused an ice age. Like she's
Yeah.
gotta be power. I mean, how strong is this fucking thing? You know. So I got
Well, I mean,
a list.
that's why Godzilla went pink, right?
Right.
Yeah.